What's up, guys? Your favorite Player One Richard here, out filming another hunt. And today is going to be a little bit different. And that is because I have given myself a challenge, one that I have deemed to be called the Whiskey Noob Challenge. And the task at hand is very simple. I need to curate or put together what I feel is going to be the perfect collection of bottles for somebody who is just starting out in the world of whiskey. Now, with any challenge, you need to have parameters, and they are as follows. First is going to be our budget, and we are going to give ourselves $125 to spend before tax. Next needs to be the bottles, and we are only looking for 3. One is going to be a bourbon, one needs to be a rye, and one we are going to call our curveball. Now, this can be anything that is other than those first 2. It could be a finished whiskey, a double oak, maybe a store pick, an American single malt, anything that is not going to be one of those first 2. Now, lastly, we need a location, and today we are going to be here at Lake District Wine and Liquors. When I got to thinking about who is going to have the best selection and the most reasonable prices, I decided Lake District is going to be the best bet. So let's go inside and see what we can come up with for the Whiskey Noob Challenge. Now, when I came up with this idea for a challenge, I was really reflecting on myself a few years ago when I first started to truly get into the world of whiskey, and I went in feet first. Anything and everything that I heard influencers getting or were interested in, I needed to have that on my shelf, and I found very quickly that that became, number one, very expensive, but also very overwhelming. There were things that were out there that didn't fit my flavor profile, and I ended up spending tons of money on things that I just didn't like. And so I either gave them away or mixed them in a cocktail, and that's not what I want. So this challenge may be a little bit different for you, and I encourage you down in the comments below to tell me what are some of the bottles that you would pick as you see my selections throughout this video. So as we're looking at this challenge, one of the things that I need to take into consideration is that we're looking for everyday consumers, not just somebody who's been into this for a while and has really developed a palate towards one specific thing. And so I feel like some of our bigger name distilleries are going to be things that we want to focus on. So the first bottle that we're going to look for is going to be a bourbon. And the first thing that comes to mind for me as a bourbon drinker is going to be Russell's Reserve and anything in that family, whether that's a Wild Turkey or Russell's product. And we have several different options here, ranging in age statements to proof points and price points as well. So that Russell's just basic 10-year is only 90 proof, very versatile, very approachable, can be used in a variety of different ways, whether that's a cocktail, drinking it neat, or over ice. And the great thing is that if this is something that you as a whiskey drinker enjoy, you can really expand within that same family. They have things such as their single barrels, their private barrel selects at a slightly higher proof point. Now, sticking in that same family, you also have these Wild Turkey options here, and they're slightly lower as far as price point goes too. So if you're in a pinch and you still want to get some good whiskey, then you can get something equally as good, but at a lower price. Now, they have plenty of this Wild Turkey 101 age 8-year, same price point as this 10-year Russell's. So this might be something that we want to pick up first. Another option would be Woodford Reserve, still packed full of flavor. You have some other options here that you can explore, and it's going to be very approachable. So looking here, same proof point on this Woodford Reserve, rounds about, just slightly higher, 90.4, same volume, but you are looking at a much less price. I think it was $42.99 for the Wild Turkey or the Russell's, where you're paying $35.99 here. And what's great about this is you also have other options that are coming from Woodford Reserve as well. So you have your wheat, your rye, your malt, and that double oak, which everyone absolutely loves. Plus, occasionally you'll get some of these other special limited releases as well to further explore if this is the route that you go. Now, I know many of you would bash me in the comments if I didn't include this bourbon, and that, of course, is going to be the tried and true Buffalo Trace. Very approachable, just like that Russell's. Easy drinker, easy sipper, 90 proof, $24.99 for a 750 milliliter. Great in a cocktail, great over ice, great drink, neat. The last option that we're going to look at for our bourbon is going to be from Bulleit. Now, as of right now, they only have one offering of their own distillate, but I think that they're working on that. Now, this one is actually very special to me because when I first started to truly dive into bourbon, I started off with Bulleit, specifically with a store pick of barrel strength Bulleit. Now you do, just like with those other offerings, have some other things in that same family that you can explore. The mesquite smoked malt, the bottled and bond, which is awesome. Plus they have some different offerings for their ryes as well. Now the next bottle that we need to search for is going to be our rye. And an easy answer, sticking with that Buffalo Trace family, would be a Sazerac rye. And I recently tried this and it is extraordinary, especially for the price point. But we don't want to spend all of our money just on Buffalo Trace products. Now they do have the 90 proof for $25.99, and hidden over here is this 100 proof. Absolutely extraordinary. $34.99 for an entire liter, but we're going to explore maybe some other brands as well. An equally great, decently priced, and readily available rye is going to be this Knob Creek 7-year, 100 proof, packed full of flavor, and not going to break the bank for $39.99. The last rye that we are going to take a look at is going to be from none other than Old Forester. Now, just like the other two, it is going to have a proof point of 100 proof. In my opinion, a pretty good proof point for a new rye drinker, and it's not going to break the bank. $26.99, readily available, great in an old fashioned. All right, so I have my bourbon and my rye selected. Now we need our curveball, our third option, and I think I have something in mind. Now, even though this is a limited release, it's everywhere now. Great price point, great proof, and that is none other than this Green River honey finished bourbon whiskey. $25, actually $24.99, 92 proof. I think this would be great for anybody's collection who is wanting to experience what finished whiskey could be. And the great thing is that at least right now, this is a pretty popular craze. So you can find lots of options out there beyond this, if this is something that you truly like. So now that we have our 3 bottles, let's talk about the total, and then I'll reveal what those other 2 bottles are. All right, so I've got my 3 bottles. I think I've hit all the parameters for what I'm calling the Whiskey Noob Challenge. So again, a budget of $125, 3 different bottles, a bourbon, a rye, and a curveball whiskey. So here are the bottles that I ended up going with. The first one for our bourbon is going to be this Russell's Reserve 10-year. Only 90 proof, packed full of flavor, very versatile, goes great over ice, neat, or in a cocktail, and is only $42.99. And what makes this thing also great is that if you wanted to go up in proof point, they offer single barrels, private barrels, and some other extraordinary options as well. Now, next in our lineup is going to be our rye, which I ended up choosing the Old Forester 100 proof rye. I had never had this until probably earlier this year, and if I'm looking for just a quick, easy sipper, this is what I reach for. I think it was $26.99. Doesn't break the bank. You can find it everywhere. Great, neat in a cocktail, and I think great for a whiskey newbie. Now, we said that our curveball is going to be this Green River honey finished bourbon. Now this is $24.99. Right now it's a limited release, but I feel like it's a great gateway or segue whiskey into finished whiskeys and what other finished bourbons can possibly be. Now, if you are keeping up with our total, we end up having a little bit more than $30 left. I think it's $30.03 before tax. So one more spare bottle that I found, it's kind of within the same realm, would really fit into that curveball, and that is one of my personal favorites, this Penelope pre-made black walnut old fashioned. Now, I know this doesn't exactly fit the bill, but if you're in a hurry and you want a mixed cocktail, again, I feel like just like this honey bourbon, it really can show you as the consumer what good bourbon in a cocktail could potentially be. All right, guys, that was the Whiskey Noob Challenge. Now, that was a lot more difficult than I originally had thought it was going to be. And for some of you watching, you're probably thinking that I took the easy road out by picking things like the Russells and the Old Forester, but I really wanted to take just the general entry-level consumer into consideration when picking my choices. So that was kind of my mindset in doing this challenge. So what would you end up picking out if you had the same parameters that I set out for myself for your basic 3-bottle lineup? If you would, just drop them down in the comments below. I'd love to know what things you ended up picking out. A special thank you to Lake District Wine and Liquors for letting me film. They're always courteous, have great staff, pretty good prices. I highly recommend that you check them out if you're in the Memphis or surrounding area. All right, guys, what challenge should I do next? Drop your ideas down in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Maybe if you have a good one, then I will see about doing it in the future. All right. As always, thank you for sticking until the end. I'm your favorite player one, Richard. Have a good one.